The dark tunnels of Moscow, the home of humanity, after the bombs fell. The Metro book series by Dmitry Glukhovsky is by far my favourite book series ever, with a level of detail and emotion in every single page capturing me entirely. Although the themes of communism and rising fascism in Russia being an alien topic to me, it still resonates. The true emotion and world of Metro interests me like no other. Having now been represented in the form of video games, which I feel are extremely faithful to the source material, in my opinion, the best book series ever created is finally getting the attention I feel it rightfully deserves. In the year 2013, the bombs fell. Marking the Third World War, the Great War of 2013 began as a limited exchange between two Middle Eastern countries, most likely Iran and Israel, considering their current nuclear programs. With this first exchange, other major nations began their response. The end result was a massive nuclear exchange, altering the life on Earth. With modern nations that are known to have nuclear weapons, such as France, Britain, China, and many others, it is implied heavily in the Metro series that the United States was the main opponent of Russia in the Great War. Underground, in comparative safety, hidden away from the deadly fallout and carnivorous mutants, the remnants of humanity have scraped together what they can and are trying to rebuild. Living in the vast underground tunnels, they have joined together into communities, some small mushroom and pig farms, others vast empires with thousands of citizens, all interacting with each other through trade or war. These factions are trying to bring structure and order back to humanity. These 5 factions being the Fourth Reich, Hansa, Polis, Rangers of the Order, and the Red Line. Many of these factions have analogues in current Russian society. The giants of their new world, all unique in structure, their struggles for the control over humanity's future, a constant backdrop in the Metro series. Split into 5 groups, these factions have power and influence over most of the smaller nations throughout the Metro system, whether it's through diplomatic alliance, trade, or under the boot by military conquest. The Fourth Reich, a far-right militant faction inspired by the ideas and policies of Adolf Hitler and his Nazi Germany. Under the leadership of the Führer and formed around a core of neo-Nazi xenophobes, the Reich has a vision of the Metro free of mutants and pure from non-Russians, willing to go to any means necessary to ensure the genetic standard they consider crucial. The Reich employs special techniques and procedures modelled on Hitler's Germany. From the home base of the Triple Station TCP, they wage a perpetual war against the Red Line. In direct analogue to the Second World War, the Reich operates a quality over quantity standard, with Reich soldiers being far better equipped and trained than the much more numerous Red counterparts. The Red Line, a Marxist-Leninist faction, the Red Line is a haven for Soviet fanatics, commanded by the aging former members of the Soviet government. Led by General Secretary Maxim Moskin, the Reds control much of the daily life of their citizens through a program of censorship, political and social repression, and a web of spies. Much like the Soviet nation they're modelled of, the Red Line is the largest group in all of the Metro with a population of 15,000 citizens, with 7,000 in their armed forces, often fighting in huge wave tactics, without any regard to the losses against the neo-Nazi Fourth Reich. The Commonwealth of Stations of the Ring Line, shortened to Hansa, modelled after the Hanseatic League, which was a commercial and defensive coalition of merchant guilds and market towns. The Hansa is the most influential faction in the Metro, with their links of trade running through the entire underground, occupying what is considered the jugular of the Metro. All trade from every faction has to pass through the Hansa to get to its destination. To protect their tight control on the trade revenues, the Hansa operates a well-trained force of 5,000 men. Even with this potent power, they prefer to remain neutral of the conflict, preferring to use sanctions and threats to protect their own interest. Polis, a beacon of learning and pre-war civilization in the darkness. Formed by former members of the Russian government, military and intelligentsia, Polis lacks a formal head of state but instead operates in an oligarchic governmental style. With a small military of only 500 men, Polis doesn't rely entirely on the military for defense. Polis is protected by awe, in which it is held by every Metro citizen, for its position as a repository of knowledge and learning. Being closely tied to the Hansa, any action against Polis would lead to a Hansa response. Rangers of the Order, the final major faction of the underground Metro, also known as Spartans, venturing to the surface, eliminating mutants and bandits who prey on the weak. Although technically neutral, they maintain a close alliance with Polis, receiving most of their finance and equipment from them, occupying the only human settlement on the surface known, and a top secret former military station known as D6, having a reputation of being formidable fighters, operating with about 250 men and women, many of which were previously Russian special forces. This is just the major factions of the novels and video games. There are tons of other cities and groups in the Metro Underground universe, and they're all unique and interesting, all playing an important role in the daily politics and life of the Metro Underground. Thanks for watching. I implore you guys to check out Metro 2033 in novel, audiobook, or in the video game. It's really good. Also consider subscribing if you like these videos. I'm gonna keep making them while they're still fun.